Texas woman testified she took money from Jason Starr and gave it to his brother Darin Starr. Prosecutors claim Darin was given that money to kill Jason's ex-wife. News 4's Ken Curtis is following the latest developments in this intriguing murder-for-hire case. He joins us live now. Ken, what can you tell us?
Hi, Kinsley. That witness you're talking about is Lilani Mahler, who testified the first payment was $300 and to purchase a wrecked motorcycle. That bike, federal prosecutors claim, provided Darin Starr transportation to Alabama. When he arrived in Coffee County back in 2017, after his trip from Texas, he scoped out Sara Starr's home, and a few days later, he killed the school teacher. According to allegations. Past the motorcycle, Jason Starr sent several other payments to Mahler, who gave most but not all the money to the Starr's brother, Darin Starr. Prosecutors claim those transfers were additional payments for the brother to kill, as Jason became frustrated over a court order requiring him to pay thousands to Sara, an Enterprise school teacher, and the couple's 2 children. The shocking developments during testimony this afternoon came from defense attorneys when they decided against cross-examining Lilani Mahler, giving her key testimony in this case. That seemed to come as a surprise to those in the courtroom. In the next hour, the 5 words prosecutors believe, or at least they hope, will seal the deal for them in this case. At the federal courthouse at Montgomery, Ken Curtis, your hometown news leader.
Ken Curtis, thank you for that update.